Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video. And as we look at the continuing saga of this stuff that's going on, not just with P. Diddy and the debauchery that revolves around the leaked tapes and different things that he's been involved in and being accused of for years, that he was doing these things. We also see the LGBTQ movement amongst us as black people, as Hebrew people, is picking up steam, is picking up support because of more and more of these revelations of a lot of the entertainers in the Hebrew community, the black community, being part of this Baphomet, Canaanite religion worship, sex worship. The enemy continues, as he did when we were in the land, to cause us to blaspheme the name of the Most High Yah. In the Bible, whenever you see that the people of Yah would bring shame to the name of the Most High, you would see where he would use the word naked or nakedness. In a lot of these cases, which we're going to talk about today, it definitely would involve sexual immorality. The whole premise of it is when a person is naked and they have nothing on, they don't have no weapon, they don't have no money, is that you're helpless. You don't have anything but your hands and your feet to stave off the enemy if the enemy wants to do anything. Indeed, as we will show, one of the prevailing images that pops in one's mind when they think of the trans-Arab or the transatlantic slave trade is our people being led off into captivity, what? Naked. So we want to talk on the topic, naked to their shame. And we want to show how in the scriptures that we're going to read, how our leaders and how ourselves have caused us to be naked to our shame. And although we do know that in the end the Most High is going to triumph and our people are going to come out, yet we as believers and we as those that have been called to expound on his word, we have been called to cry loud and to spare not. So for all those that would say, well, you just piling on what's going on, no, it's called upon us. In fact, and we're going to get into a lesson. This is why when I hear people say, oh, I wish I was like Jeremiah, or I wish I was like more, you wouldn't want to be none of the prophets. If the prophets had been around today, speaking the way they did to our people back then, you would be calling them, some of you would be calling them right-wingers. Some of you would be calling them sellouts. Indeed, that was the main accusation against Jeremiah, was he was a sellout to the Babylonian Empire because he kept telling them to cooperate with Babylon. So I don't want to hear our people is hypocritical. Very hypocritical when we say these things, when we look back and we understand. Now I understand there is a nuance to that. I understand there's a nuance to that when you have people like Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson that's running for governor here in North Carolina. He's definitely there's no doubt about it, that man is not just because of his leanings, but because he is a debauched individual. He really is a debauched individual for real. Jeremiah and all the other prophets that was, but they had, their character was impeccable. The Most High Yah knew that they loved him and they loved his word. That's why they was obedient to the call. But I'm saying a lot of the people that they were preaching to at that time and trying to tell them to get right, because they were just like us, they would have used that moniker against them by saying, "Oh, you piling on us." You see, no, but the Most High saying, "This is me that's saying this through the prophet." So don't use that as a excuse. You pointing at him when you actually pointing at me. So our people need to be careful of that today, because they say, "Oh, y'all piling on Diddy, y'all piling on Jay-Z, and all this other kind of ridiculous stuff." The Bible said, "Cry now and spare not. Lift up your voice like a trumpet." And again, these people are like some of those wicked kings that we had, that I let, because they dress nice, because they have money, because they have prestige, because they have nice looks. Just like our people of old, we're enamored with that secretly in our heart. Of those of us that call ourselves believers, some of us are secretly, not myself, but I'm saying some. At one time, I was like that, especially in Christianity, because it's promoted to you to look up to the bishops with the 30 and 40 and $50,000 robes, and the $50,000 gold chains with the cross with diamonds and stuff embedded in it. Even though you know he's a whoremonger and all this other kind of stuff, touch not my anointed. It's the same thing going on. But these people have caused us to be naked to our shame. So we want to get to it, and we want to reveal this, and we want to, just warn you about this. So we want to start with the book of Exodus, the 32nd chapter. Exodus, the 32nd chapter. And we're going to start at verse 1. And he said, "And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods that shall go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, of Mizraim, we want not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, and of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graven tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the master. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. And Moses said and the master said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest up out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed thereunto. And said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And the master said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now, therefore, let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. And Moses besought the master, his Elohim, and said, Master, why dost thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? turn from thy fierce wrath and repent of this evil against thy people. What? You telling the Most High to repent. Okay, let's keep reading. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thine own self, and said unto them, I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And the master what? Wow. Listen to this. And the master repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. Oh wow. Verse 15, and Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the two tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tablets were written on both their sides, on the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of Yahuwah, and the writing was the writing of Yahuwah, graven unto the tablets. Oh my. And when Yeshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. And it came to pass, as soon as they came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in fire and ground it to powder and straw it upon the water and made the children of Yasharel drink of it. And Moses said unto Aaron, listen to what I'm getting ready to read. What did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought them so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, let not the anger of my master wax hot. Thou knowest the people that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, make us gods that shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what has become of him. And I said unto him, whosoever has any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me. Then I cast it in the fire, and there came out this calf. Really, Aaron? But this is the verse. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. And I want to use for a thought, naked to their shame. You see what I'm saying? Now, of course, the mischief was in the people to want to bow down to the idols of Egypt that they had just left out of the land. And the Most High knew how this all was going to work. He knew it all this. And that's why he chose Moses. And when it said that the Most High repented of the evil that he was, it wasn't a thing that the Most High had made a choice to do something wrong that he had to come back and repent of. No, it wasn't that. Really what it was when he said he repented of destroying them, it was a delay. Because everything that the Most High said he was going to do to them, he ended up doing to them. But he needed somebody like Moses that will intercede on behalf of those people. Because if Moses had interceded that day, the Most High surely would have wiped those out. But the Most High knew the character of Moses. He knew Moses would intercede for the people and stand between him and them to keep him from doing what by his his authority and his character, he would have done, but because of also his great mercy of those that intercede, he delayed what he was going to eventually do when he said, I'm going to repent. Really, it should have been, oh, okay, Moses, I'm going to delay what I told you I'm going to do. I'm going to delay. I'm going to step back. Right? But there was no thought in his mind that was wrong because he eventually did it. Because remember, what did he say later on? He said, Moses, all of the men 20 and up, only 2 of them are going to make it. Joshua, Yeshua, and Caleb. Everybody else is going to die off in the desert. They're going to die off. So the point of the matter is Aaron, who was the high priest, he was the leader right amongst Moses, him, Miriam, and Moses. But in verse 21, he said, Thou hast brought so great a sin upon these people. And then verse 25, it says, For Aaron had made them naked unto their shame amongst their enemies. He made them expose not just themselves to shame, but the name of the Most High Yah. That these are the people of Yah that just came out of Egypt through his mighty hand, are out there in the open air, having open air orgies, bowing down to the Egyptian Apis bull that the Egyptians worshipped, to the shame of them and to the shame of the Most High, that he was literally, he said, Moses, I'm going to wipe them out, and I'm going to start with you to rebuild a new nation. And the Most High is not in a habit of lying. He would have, but he knew the character of Moses when he called Moses and changed that Moses would intercede. But even Moses, when Moses got down to the bottom of the mountain, seeing that what they was doing, because he couldn't see what the Most High was seeing at the time. He heard it as him and Joshua was coming down the mountain, but when he seen it, he was so hot himself. He took the tablets that the Most High had wrote with his own hand and broke them at the foot of the mountain, and took the golden calf and the altar and all that stuff, burned it, turned it to fire, a powder, and spread on the water, and made all Israel drink from it because of the shame of the nakedness, not just of the fact that they were naked toward their enemies, and that the Most High was not with them. The enemies that were obviously following them and seeing what they was doing could have just rushed in because they was naked, not just to their shame, but also that the Most High's protection had lifted up off of them. And we can see this in the book of Genesis. Let's go to the book of Genesis, and we're going to come back to Exodus. But let's go to Genesis 2:20. Because remember, when Yah created Adam and Eve, he created them what? Well, he didn't create them naked, because there was no such thing as nakedness at that time. But because they were clothed with the righteousness of Yah before they fell, there was no need for them to have any clothes on. There was no need for that. But let's look here in chapter 20. Chapter 2, verse 20 of Genesis. He said, And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowls of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. And the master Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the rib instead thereof. And the rib which the master Elohim had taken from the man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Verse 25, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were what? Not ashamed, because they did not have no knowledge of nakedness. Sin had not entered in, and they was in the righteousness of the Most High Yah was their clothing, which the righteousness means that not only you are protected against any enemies that will come after you, but you also protected from the holiness of the Most High Yah, because anything that comes in the presence of the Most High that is not holy will be destroyed on sight. But because they were clothed in the righteousness of the Most High, they were perfectly fine, because sin hadn't entered into the camp. Let's go to verse 3 though. Chapter 3. And what does it say? Right? Let's go down to, we know what happened. They both partook of the fruit of the knowledge of the tree and good and evil. And let's go down to verse 7. When their eyes were open to what state they were in, and sin entered into them, and now they were no longer holy. In verse 7 of chapter 3 of Genesis, it said this. He said, the eyes of them both were open, and they knew they were what? Naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the master Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day, like they had in the past, but it was something different. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the master Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And the master Elohim said unto Adam, called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden. I was afraid, because I was what? Naked, and I hid myself. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not? And he had. Therefore, the shame of his self now, because he was unholy and unrighteous, and he knew now the shame, and also fact that now you are at odds with Yah. You can't come in his presence now, because his righteousness does not clothe you. And this is the tactic that the enemy uses, not just against our people, of course, but we're talking primarily, he uses against all peoples that trying to serve Yah. But we're talking about our people and this stuff that's been going on with the entertainment world, really, if you want to look at it, since the Harlem Renaissance, when a lot of our people fled up from the South into the big cities, into Harlem, New York, into Chicago, and in LA, and in Cleveland, and all these big cities. And then a lot of our people start engaging in different things that they might not have been engaging in that much in the South. Not saying they wasn't doing certain things, but they wasn't engaging in some of these things until they came into the big cities. And then you seen with the Harlem Renaissance, where you seen there was a coming out of some that were that got mixed up into the LGBTQ thing, drug use, prostitution, crime. You start seeing a lot of crookedness in the different churches and things that were forming in the North. People getting mixed up in gambling and all these different things. And the enemy was trying to make us, just like in this case, naked to our shame, because he understood that we would be at odds with the Most High Yah. We would not have no protection, and we also would make ourselves look debased in the image, in the eyes of our oppressors. Because when the black exploitation came out, when Hebrew people, black people was crying for representation in wicked, evil Hollywood, what representation did they give us? They give us reputation of our women. I mean, Pam Grier, I know, people have whatever thoughts they want to have, but you cannot deny that one of the thing that most was known by her is that she was a very beautiful and voluptuous woman. And a lot of the films that she did during that black exploitation, she was naked. Indeed, a lot of the black exploitation movies, there was a lot of nude things. Just like I was stating about the open air drive-in theaters in that part of town in Winston, where, like I said, if you drove past it on certain nights, on Friday nights and some nights, they would have these black exploitation movies. You would see flesh, and they had black apartment complexes right across the street where some of them people could basically look out their window and see this stuff on these big screens. Because what? They were trying, just like with what happened with Adam and Eve, what happened with the people of Israel when they was at the foot of Mount Sinai, when Yah was giving them the law, naked to our shame. The devil does not use no new tactics against us. He don't have to. And it's not just us. I understand that. But I'm trying to talk to our people because Yeshua is on his way back. Judgment is falling across the land. We must wake our people up. Because though there is going to be a regathering, we got to look at the modus operandi. When you had the flood, how many people was able to make it on the flood? Only 8. When you had Sodom and Gomorrah, how many people made it out of Sodom and Gomorrah in the plains? Only 3. You had 4, but we know Lot's wife looked back and she was turned into a pillar of salt. So after all them major cities, like we stated before, the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were Canaanite. But out of all them population of that city, it was only 3 people that made it out. But they themselves did not make it out in their mind, because we ended up knowing that Lot and his daughters slept with each other. And he produced the Moabites and the Ammonites, which thing we read the other day in Leviticus 18 about a father and his daughters not sleeping with each other. Right there. Again, making you naked to your shame. We must get our house in order, because now is not the time. But we gotta look at the pattern of the enemy and understand and wake up from it. Now, when Adam and Eve realized, hey, we messed up, what did they immediately try to do? They tried to get religious by sewing fig leaves to cover themselves up. But the Most High, they said, that's not good enough. That's not going to protect you from me. I'm going to have to give you these skins of these kids of goats, meaning lambs, meaning I had to kill them to get the skin, and the blood was the temporary covering for me to even have this conversation with you. But now I'm going to have this conversation with you and let you know from now on, in order for me to even have any kind of conversation, and something's going to have to give up its life. Because I told you in the day that you ate of the fruit, you would die. And it's going to happen, but I'm not going to let it happen this day. But you're going to slowly start returning back to the ground. And if you want to extend your life out more than it is, then these sacrifices of animals will suffice until the seed of the woman come and crush the head of the serpent that Eve and you allowed to deceive you. And so this is the tactic that he's been using against all humanity, but also in particular our people, to get us to make ourselves naked to our shame. Let's go to Revelations, the 3rd chapter, and continue to show you this point. Revelations 3, and we're going to go to start at verse 14. And this is Yeshua talking to the church of the Laodiceans, right? The assembly of the Laodiceans. And remember that in all ages you can find these type of assemblies or groups of people, or even particular behavior to an individual. You can find them. It's an example of what would transpire throughout the whole gospel age that one would live, that we are still in. And this is Revelations 3 and 14. It said, unto the messenger, the angel of the assembly of the Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of Yah. I know thy works, that thou art neither hot nor cold. I would thou wert hot or cold. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. And naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mightest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thy eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Yeshua said, I see your nakedness. I see your blindness. But you religious people think that you're good to go because you got your $30,000 robes, because you got your fish hat on, you got your shepherd crook, all this Catholic stuff, which, by the way, are the same colors you see here in the book of Revelation. That's why I never figured that out when I was in this church thing. I said, these people are wearing the exact colors that the Most High warned us the whore of Babylon would have. And they don't think something wrong with that. He said, I counsel you to go buy you white raiment and make you some clothe yourself, make you some robes to clothe yourself for the nakedness of your shame, because you don't understand. You're defenseless. You don't have no covering. You don't have no protection against your enemies, and you don't have no protection against me, because wherever there is unholiness, unrighteousness, when I come up in the midst, that's going to be judged. It's going to be destroyed. And right now, you're in the edge of destruction because you don't perceive that you're blind and you're naked. And for a lot of our people, when we come into what we see equality with our oppressors, we think we're fine, not knowing that if Yah is saying that judgment is going to come upon them for the deeds that they're doing, you think, okay, well, I'm of your people, so just because I'm your people, I can do the deeds of the Gentiles, right, and get away with it because I'm the people of Yah. Because just because I'm the people of Yah, He gonna judge those wicked Gentiles because they over there. But I'm doing the same thing those wicked Gentiles doing, but because I'm the people, He gonna protect me. This is the same ridiculousness that our people had back then, right? When they said, when Yeshua said the Pharisees and all them tell you to do one thing, but they themselves won't do it. They won't do it. They see the man, the woman caught in adultery, and but they don't take the men that was sleeping with her and stone them. They want to stone her. Why? Because they was in agreement with what the man was doing, and indeed some of them probably was doing the same thing. They might have been some of the ones that was actually sleeping with her. You see what I'm saying? This madness. And Paul said the same thing in Romans when he said, some of you say, because I know the law, because the law was given to me, even though I'm not obedient to the law, because the law was given to me on Mount Sinai. You say, hey, you people, he said, do you not think that when you sin just like the Gentiles against the things that the Most High told you not to do, that you ain't going to get judged right along like the Gentiles that are continuing in this wickedness? Wake up. He said, do you think that the Gentiles that are doing righteous deeds and stuff without even having been given the law, that I'm going to still judge them when they're doing righteousness that you yourself are not doing? You got this thing mixed up. You got me all messed up. Basically what the Most High said. You got me all messed up. You think because I gave you the law and I told you this, and you said because you know it, but you ain't doing it. Yeah, I know they ain't doing it, but I did give it to them. They just ain't. No, you are going to be judged more harshly because you knew not to do it, but you did it anyway. The same judgment that the Gentiles got, you going to get it. So when we see this thing with not just P. Diddy, but Bill Cosby and many, many, many others, and we can make that argument, R. Kelly, that, oh yeah, this bigger fish above them that's doing, but the point of the Most High is not that. The point of the Most High, you have made yourself naked to your shame because you knew better. I told you not to, but our people kind of brushed that away. And who is the ones that's leading them in this course? It is our religious leaders. It is our political leaders. It is the entertainers and all those ones that's out there saying, yeah, they doing this. Yeah, but that's not getting twisted. There's people, but and yes, that's do point this out. Let's do point this out that P. Diddy for years has made it no secret what he was doing at the P. Diddy parties. That is no secret. He did an interview back in 2002 with David Letterman on the Letterman show when he said, what is a Diddy party? And Diddy told him, he said, you get a bunch of men, you get a bunch of women, you get a bunch of liquor, you put them all in a room and you lock the door. And then they start laughing. So they know. And this stuff, yes, indeed, it's been going on way before Diddy was even conceived. This stuff goes way back into biblical. This stuff goes back to the flood, before the flood. It's been there. But what I'm saying to you, because the Most High has told us, if you do it, you're going to be in trouble. Because you are going to make yourself vulnerable and open to the enemy. Indeed, just like we were saying in the teaching about the iniquity of the Canaanites, was not yet full, but now it's being filled to the brim. The first group of people that's engaging in the iniquity of the Amorites is our people, because Yah said judgment must first begin at the house of Yah. It must begin with us. And he said, and if the righteous scarcely make it in, and he's using that word in quotations, righteous, what about the ungodly and those that don't know Yah? So he's saying, okay, you see how am I judging my people? You see what I'm going. But when I start waxing it out on the Gentiles, it's going to be on a whole nother level. But I, make no mistake, are going to deal with my people in their participation. The real reason why that this stuff is going on with P. Diddy has nothing to do with that. The Gentiles raise people up like him and Bill Cosby to debauch our people, to keep us naked to our shame, to keep us powerless. They raise up senators and congressmen and people that promote death and death of the seed, the Moloch sin. They raise up people to keep us what? Naked to our shame, to make us defenseless and make us an anathema to the Most High, coming in amongst us to heal us. Because he said, I'm not coming into that. Get your house in order. The real reason why Diddy is in problems that he's in is he came against the parent company of Ciroc, the liquor company that he once was a 50-50 partner with the parent company, which was just these the money changers. I'm gonna use that word. The money changers, like I said, control the spirit industry. They control that, and Diddy sued them for racism and discrimination because he was saying, hey, you're not letting me promote this Ciroc stuff to people outside of black people. You only let me promote it to black people, right? Which again, drunkenness, promoting drunkenness to ourselves. That is why he wanted to be able to promote it. Not that other races is not drinking. That's not the point. The point was they basically was like, look, this Ciroc drink, we only want it marketed to your people, which makes you wonder, if they was only marketed to our people, what were they putting in it? Because Diddy was not in charge of the companies that produced it. The Ciroc stuff is made in France and is owned by the British conglomerate company that he sued. So you don't know what they putting in the drink that's only being marketed to black people. And when he protested, eventually what had to happen, he had to drop the lawsuit. He dropped the lawsuit and they basically bought him out. And they said, look, we use you to promote it amongst black people, but no more. Here's your money. Take your money. You no longer have 50-50 ownership. Now this parent company has 100% control of Ciroc. They must have gave Diddy an undisclosed amount of money. And soon after that, all these women, people who have been for decades speaking out against Diddy and trying to sue him and everything, that they basically protected him, they just withdrew their hand and made him what? Naked. What are they doing? They putting out all these AI pictures of him and other people partially naked or whatever, to what? Not just to his shame, but to the shame of black men, black women, black whatever. Just like Genesis 3, just like Exodus 32, just like Revelations 3, the church of Laodicea, to your shame, no defense, no protection. And because our people are now trying to raise up and say this and that, instead of repenting, instead of asking the Most High to forgive us and get us back on track, they're trying to come up with these different things and say, well, maybe if Trump can get in, maybe Trump can give him a pardon and all. What? We need to be repenting. We need to turn away from this wickedness. Let's go to Isaiah, the 20th chapter. Isaiah, the 20th chapter. And we're going to start at verse 1. He said, in the year that Tartan came unto Ashdod, when Sargon, the king of Assyria, sent him and fought against Ashdod and took it. At that same time spake the master by Isaiah, the son of Amos, saying, go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put off thy shoe from thy foot. And he did so, walking barefooted, naked and barefooted. And the master said, like as my servant Isaiah has walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and wonder unto Egypt and unto Ethiopia, so shall the king of Assyria lead away the Egyptian prisoners and the Ethiopian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Egypt. And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Ethiopia and the expectation, and of Egypt their glory. And the inhabitant of this isle shall say in that day, behold, such is our expectation, whether we flee for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria, and how shall we escape? The northern kingdom was trying to circumvent the judgment of the Most High Yah by supposedly going to Egypt and Ethiopia for help against the Assyrian army. But Yah said that's not going to work. He said, Isaiah, I want you to take off your clothes, take off your sandals, and for 3 years, I want you to walk amongst the people naked and barefoot, but naked before the people for 3 years. He said, this is going to be a sign to the people that this is what's going to happen to Egypt and Ethiopia when the Assyrians get hold of them. They're going to carry them off into their land. They're going to carry their young men and women, all of those. And indeed, your expectation of help from them is going to be destroyed because you know you're going to be next. And indeed, what happened to the northern kingdom? The very same thing that happened to Egypt and Ethiopia. They were marched off toward Nineveh and toward the Syrian Empire naked and barefoot. And in fact, they said that one of the things the Assyrians did, they would have these chains with hooks in them, and they would put a hook in the jaw of when they would chain all the prisoners together, naked and barefoot, marching them all the way back to Assyria, to Nineveh and different provinces in their empire. And they would take the hook and they would hook it in the jaw of the person, and they would run the chain to the person behind, and that would have a hook in it, and they would hook it in that person behind you, so that as they was walking naked and barefoot in that hot sun, probably being whipped, probably being starved to death, thirsty and all that, when you die and you fell forward, it would not only rip your jaw out, the side of your face probably, but the person behind you, it would rip their face out. Such cruelty. And when you see that Yah is, you see a group of people that are bearing their bodies and all these different things out for society to see, you know that destruction and shame is coming onto that nation or that group of people. And I submit to you that we better wake up. As we see not that they haven't been, but I'm saying it's just like a multiplicity now of this stuff, that this is not a sign that just like what they did with the prison industrial complex back during the crack era in the 1990s with the crime bill that led a lot of our young black men and women off to prison to be strip searched and made naked before the prison guards and strip searched before they went off into these prisons or whatever, that the same thing could be about to happen. Because even Yah can do two things at one time. He can still yet judge the Gentiles and judge us at the same time. If we don't do like what Yeshua said, come out from among them. If we don't do what Yeshua said in Revelations 3, and starting at verse 14 with the church, the assembly of Laodicean, to get yourself right, to get clothes on your body, and get eye salve on your eyes so that you can see right, because you ain't seeing right. You walking around naked, bare-breasted, bare-bottom, all this other kind of stuff, and not knowing to your shame, and you don't know that there is no deliverance coming from nowhere. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 28 and 1. 2 Chronicles 28, and we're going to start at verse 1. And it said, Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. But he did not that which was right in the sight of the master, like David his father, for he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and made also molten images for Balaam, again, the golden calf, messing around with the bull god, Baal. Moreover, he burnt incense in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and burnt his children in the fire, after the abomination of the heathen, the Canaanites, whom the master had cast out before the children of Israel. And he sacrificed also and burnt incense in high places and on the hills and under every green tree. Wherefore the master Elohim delivered him into the hand of the king of Assyria, and they smote him and carried away a great multitude of them captive, and brought them to Damascus. And he was also delivered into the hand of the king of Israel, who smote him with a great slaughter. For Pekah, the son of Remaliah, slew in Judah 120,000 in one day. Listen, the Most High allowed Judah to lose 120,000 people in one day. And they were all valiant men because they had forsaken the master, their Elohim of their fathers. Let's keep reading. And Zerai, a mighty man of Ephraim, slew Manasseh, the king's son, and Azakim, the governor of the house, and Akanah, that was next to the king. And the children of Israel carried away captive of their brethren 200,000 women, sons, and daughters, and took away much spoil from them, and brought the spoil to Samaria. They carried over 200,000 people into captivity into the northern kingdom. The Judeans were carried away into the northern kingdom, captive. Verse 9, but the prophet of the master was there, whose name was Obed. And he went out before the host that came to Samaria, and said unto them, behold, because the master Elohim of your fathers was wrought with Judah, he has delivered them into your hand, and ye have slain them in a rage that reacheth up to heaven. Now ye purpose to keep under the children of Judah and Jerusalem for bondmen and bondwomen unto you, but are they not with you, even with you, sins against the master your Elohim? Hear ye me therefore, and deliver the captives again, which ye have taken captive of your brethren, for the fierce wrath of the master is upon you. So that basically they was going to turn them into slaves in the northern kingdom. But the prophet was like, these are your brothers and sisters. He let you slaughter their men of valiant. They defenseless. They can't fight against you. He said, but don't sin by going the next level, because now the wrath of Yah is against you for what you're getting ready to do, to put these women and children, these helpless ones, in the slavery. Don't do it. Let's keep reading. Now here, verse 11, now hear me therefore, and deliver the captives again, which ye have taken captive of your brother, for the fierce wrath of the masters upon you. Then certain of the heads of the children of Ephraim, Azariah the son of Jonah, Barikiah the son of Meshulamoth, and Jehiah the son of Shallum, and Amasa the son of Hadalai, stood up against them that came from the war, and said unto them, ye shall not bring in the captives hither, for whereas we have offended against the master already, ye intend to add more to our sin and to our trespass, for our trespass is great, and there is fierce wrath against Israel. So even their own warriors said, no, we can't do this. We already sinned by taking these women and children and sons into captivity and bringing them up here to the northern kingdom. We already sinned in doing that, and now you want to turn them into bondwomen and bondwomen? No, he said, no, we've sinned. Let's stop this right now. And so verse 14, so the armed men left the captives and the spoil before the princes and all the congregation. So basically the people that had got them, they said, okay, here, we just gonna leave them. No, we ain't went here. You deal with it, basically. Verse 15, he said, and the men which were expressed by name rose up and took the captives with the spoil, and with the spoil clothed all that were naked amongst them, and arrayed them, and sod them, and gave them to eat and to drink, and anointed them, and carried all the feeble of them upon asses, and brought them to Jericho, the city of Palm, to their brethren, and then they returned to Samaria. Right? And at that time, did King Ahaz send unto the kings of Assyria to help him. For again, the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives. So basically, being at verse 15, the money that the spoils and stuff that the northern kingdom of Israel had taken away from Judah, these men took that money and said, let's clothe these people, because apparently the women and children and all of them were naked. They didn't have no clothes on. To what? Their shame. Because of the sin of who? Their wicked king, Ahaz, who had made them to become naked before their enemy because of them doing wickedness. He had caused them to be vulnerable to war and to famine and all these things. But let's continue. Verse 17, for the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captive. The Philistines also had invaded the cities of the low country and of the south of Judah, and had taken Beth-Shemesh and Ajalon and Gadaroth and Shakoth with the villages thereof, and Timnah with the villages thereof, Gizmo also and the villages thereof, and they dwelt there. For the master brought Judah low because of King Ahaz for Ahaz king of Israel, for he made Judah naked and transgressed against the master. So we see this is our state of a lot of our people, religious, political, all entertainment. They're making us naked to our shame. They're making us vulnerable. More important, they making it where the protection of our Most High is not upon us because of this. And it doesn't matter that you're not getting mixed up in the orgies and different things, which if you're in these fraternities and sororities and these secret societies that are prevalent, this stuff has been going on way before Diddy came along also. So this is a continuing issue amongst our people. But we continue on in this, and this is being brought to a head because, like I said, the iniquity of the Amorites or the Canaanites is full, and Yah is judging it. A lot of our people are going to be messed up. They're going to be really messed up if we don't get our act together and stop allowing this stuff and stop cuddling and coddling and admiring people like Diddy. Look at our number. Well, they said it's supposedly going to be 38 prominent preachers. They could be white preachers. It's not necessarily that they all going to be Hebrew preachers that's connected to them, but it could be more than that. But let's just say it's 30. That's enough. Look at what happened with Aaron. Look at what happened here with King Ahaz. Look what happened with him. Our leaders have been to our detriment because our people are also wicked. Because Aaron said, Moses, you know the people were set to mischief. But you don't have many that, like I said, they want to speak out. Most people want to feel comfortable around sinners. That's just a fact. No one, and obviously, no one wants to be whatever. But the Bible said those that live godly in Yeshua HaMashiach shall suffer persecution. Get over it that you don't have a ton of friends, acquaintances that are mixed up in this stuff, and say, well, we just friends. I'm trying to win them over to the Lord. Yeah, and they walking around with rainbow stuff on, kissing and hugging on they. Well, see, with loving kindness, I'm gonna draw them. You're not gonna draw them with loving kindness, being around them, smooching on their significant other or whatever, and you constantly being in the company of that. It's not gonna happen. Eventually, they're gonna draw you in, because the Bible said, "Flee youthful lust." Flee these different things. Because you say, well, I ain't worried about, because I love women. No. Now, let me put it this way. I do believe that Diddy was born into a particular set of things that probably made him have a propensity to get involved in this kind of stuff. But do I believe it one time that his only thought growing up was he wanted to get engaged in all this bi stuff that he is accused of? No, I don't believe. But eventually, being in the company of all this kind of stuff, eventually something happened where you got turned. And that's what's happening with a lot of our people. We want to feel comfortable around sin and sinners. This is what always draws us in, because evil communication corrupt good manners and will cause us to what? Become naked to our shame. So the answer is we got to repent. We got to turn. We got to do like the latest. Because what did Yeshua say? He said, I would have you either be red hot fanatical or lukewarm cold, where you just like, yeah, y'all loves everybody. Come on, I'll marry you. Love is love. He said, and so what you're seeing somewhat of that, where some more and more. But that's what the Most High see. The lukewarmness is the thing that masks it. But Yah is now making either you're gonna be hardcore against it now, or you're gonna be cold to it. Like, I don't care about that. As long as they paying their tithes, long as they don't come up in here, whatever, we'll even fly the rainbow flag. Because what's the difference between that and fornication? That's what you have a lot of preachers saying now. If for years we let fornication flourish in the church and say, well, as long as you wear something protection, you're okay. What's the difference? This is where we're at now. And so a lot of people are saying, the falling away, right? The falling away is not so much that even while you were in those quote unquote churches, the falling away was a mind or the attitude that was even pervading upon you, to you say, if we're going to do that, if we're going to let all this stuff, drag queens come in, why waste our time trying to be religious now? Let's just go wholesale in it now, right? Let's just do it, right? Naked to their shame. We got to repent. We got to turn for your own individualizing and just pray that the remnant, that's what I pray. I pray for the remnant, the group of people according to the election, and pray that I and my family might be counted worthy to escape the things that's already on the earth. So with that, I want to ask you to leave a comment on this video. I want you to subscribe. I want you to give it a thumbs up. And I want you to really sit and think about the state of Black America, Hebrew America. Because, like I said, if you look at what the Bible says, he said only a tenth. He told, I remember, I think it was in the book of Isaiah, he said only a tenth of the people are going to make it. And indeed, when a lot of the people were going back into captivity in Babylon. It was only a few people that was left back in the land to try to at least keep it from being totally overgrown. But the majority of the people were taken off into captivity in Babylon. And for the northern kingdom, the entire population, except for some of the priests that they left, were taken into captivity. So we must realize the time that we're in and call upon the name of the Lord. And with that, I want to say shalom and be blessed.